When you look at what's been driving this price action on Bitcoin, Matt, how much of this is retail investors investing directly in Bitcoin? How much of it is the ETF? How much of it is institutions in the ETF?
Absolutely. It's a great question. We're seeing enormous demand for the Bitwise Bitcoin ETF and across all of these ETFs. And the answer is it's all of those categories. You're seeing retail investors come into these ETFs. You're seeing hedge funds. You're seeing RIAs or independent financial advisors. I think there's an even bigger wave coming in a few months as we start to see the major wirehouses turn on. But this has been Bitcoin's IPO moment. It's in a new era of price discovery. And I think prices could go substantially higher from here.
Let's talk about where they could go in just a minute. But I just want to go back to this idea of who you think is buying these ETFs, meaning how much of this is retail versus institutions?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when these ETFs first launch, they're not turned on at the major wirehouses, at the major institutions. So the initial demand out of the gate for any ETF, including these, is primarily retail and independent financial advisors and hedge funds. So I think that's the primary driver. That's what we're seeing. Right. But I'll tell you, after this meeting, I'm getting on a plane to go talk to one of the largest institutional consultants in the U.S. about this ETF. So we're going to see that next wave of institutional capital.
You did mention hedge funds, which I will put in sort of an institutional or professional category. In terms of this big move, do you think it's that money that's pushed this, or do you think it's straight retail?
Oh, I think it's both. I think it's both. It's just new demand. If you think about Bitcoin pre the ETFs, there was only a small set of investors who could buy it. Now almost everyone can buy it, and the supply demand dynamic is just off the hook. There are 30,000 Bitcoin purchased by ETFs this week alone. Bitcoin miners have only created less than 3,000. That's what's driving the price, and it's both hedge funds and retail and that advisor community.